Deep in the frozen heart of Russia, there's a place that doesn't appear on most maps. A place where the worst of the worst disappear forever. They call it Black Dolphin Prison. And what happens inside, especially at mealtime, will shock you. But before we go further, if you want to discover more dark secrets that most people don't know about, hit that subscribe button right now and drop a comment telling us what you think so far. Now, let me ask you something. What did you eat today? Maybe some eggs for breakfast? A sandwich for lunch? Perhaps you're planning what to have for dinner right now. You probably didn't think twice about it, did you? The men inside Black Dolphin Prison think about food every single day, but not in the way you might imagine. Let's start with where this prison actually is. Black Dolphin sits in the small town of Sololezsk, tucked away in the Orenburg region of Russia, near the border with Kazakhstan. It's so remote that even if someone escaped, they'd have nowhere to run. Miles and miles of empty land stretch in every direction. The winter cold can drop to -40 degrees. The summer heat climbs past 100 degrees. But no one has ever escaped from Black Dolphin Prison. Not one person. Not in all its years of operation. Why? What makes this place so different? The prison holds around 700 men. But these aren't ordinary criminals. The Russian government only sends people here who have committed the most terrible crimes imaginable. Serial killers, terrorists, cannibals, men who have murdered multiple people, sometimes dozens. Every single prisoner inside has been sentenced to life. They will never see the outside world again. The name Black Dolphin sounds almost gentle, doesn't it? Like something peaceful. But the truth is darker. The prison got its name from a black dolphin statue that once stood near the entrance, put there by prisoners long ago to entertain the children of prison staff. That statue is gone now. Only the name remains, a strange reminder of something innocent in a place that's anything but. When a new prisoner arrives at Black Dolphin, something happens that sets the tone for everything that follows. The guards blindfold him. They bend him forward at the waist, almost 90 degrees. His hands are cuffed behind his back. Then guards grab his arms and rush him through the corridors at high speed. He stumbles, unable to see, unable to straighten up, completely powerless. This isn't just for security. It's the beginning of a message the prison sends every single day. You are no longer human here. You are something less. The cells are tiny. Imagine your bathroom at home. Now imagine living in a space even smaller, with another person, for the rest of your life. That's what these cells are like. About 50 square feet. Two prisoners share this cramped space 23 hours a day. The walls are thick concrete. A single small window, too high to see out of properly, lets in a sliver of natural light. Steel bars cover everything. Inside each cell, there are two metal beds attached to the wall. A small table, a toilet, a sink. That's all. No television, no radio, no books unless approved. No photographs of family. Nothing soft, nothing comfortable, nothing to remind them of the world outside. The prisoners sleep, eat, and exist in this box, day after day, year after year, until they die. But it's what happens at mealtime that reveals just how harsh life inside Black Dolphin really is. 4 times a day, something moves through the prison corridors. You can hear it before you see it. The metallic scraping sound, the wheels rolling over concrete, the guards talking in low voices. It's a cart, but not the kind of cart you'd see in a restaurant or hospital. This cart looks more like something you'd use to haul garbage. Large metal containers sit on top, filled with something hot. Steam rises from inside. The guards stop at each cell door. They don't open it fully. They don't step inside. They certainly don't hand the food to the prisoners like you'd pass a plate across a dinner table. Instead, there's a small slot at the bottom of each door, just big enough for a bowl to slide through. The guards take a metal bowl, the kind you might use to feed a dog, and scoop something from the container. They push this bowl through the slot using a long pole. The prisoners have exactly enough time to grab the bowl before it's pulled back. No conversation, no eye contact, no humanity in the exchange at all. What's in that bowl? Soup. Not the kind of soup you're imagining. Not chicken noodle soup with chunks of meat and vegetables. Not the rich, warm soup your grandmother might make on a cold day. This is different. The soup is thin, watery. Sometimes it has a few pieces of potato floating in it. Sometimes a bit of cabbage. Maybe some buckwheat grains. What Russians call kasha. The color is usually gray or pale yellow. It's warm when it arrives, but not hot enough to comfort you. It has almost no flavor, no salt, no spices, no richness. This soup provides just enough calories to keep a human body alive. Nothing more. Scientists have studied prison nutrition, and they know exactly how little food a person needs to survive without dying. The soup at Black Dolphin seems designed with that exact calculation in mind. 4 times a day, this same soup arrives. Morning, noon, afternoon, evening. The same thing. Every single day, every single week, every single month, every single year. There's no variety, no special meals for holidays. No different menu for summer or winter. No choices at all. The seasons change outside, but inside Black Dolphin, the soup remains the same. Along with the soup, prisoners get bread. Hard, dark bread. The kind that gets tough and difficult to chew if you don't eat it quickly. Sometimes the bread is fresh. Sometimes it's old. But it comes with every meal, a small piece to go with the endless soup. Water is available from the sink in the cell. That's it. No coffee, no tea, no juice, no milk, just water, soup, and bread. Now, you might be thinking, well, these are terrible criminals. They did horrible things. Maybe they deserve this. And that's a fair thought. These men did commit awful crimes. The Russian government doesn't send anyone to Black Dolphin unless their crimes were truly monstrous. But here's where things get more complicated. The human body needs certain things to function properly. Vitamins, minerals, protein, fat, carbohydrates. A balanced diet keeps your brain working, your muscles strong, your immune system healthy. Without these things, the body starts to break down. Medical experts who have studied prison conditions say the diet at Black Dolphin is what they call barely sufficient. It keeps prisoners alive, but it doesn't keep them healthy. Over months and years, this kind of diet can lead to all sorts of problems. Weak bones, bad teeth, difficulty thinking clearly, diseases from vitamin deficiencies. But there's something even stranger about how meals work at Black Dolphin. Remember how I mentioned the prisoners share their tiny cells with one other person? Imagine eating every single meal in that cramped space, sitting on your metal bed, with the same person you've been locked in a room with for years. The same face across from you. Every breakfast, every lunch, every dinner, every snack. And you can't just eat whenever you want. The soup comes when it comes. 4 specific times a day. If you're not hungry at that exact moment, too bad. If you're starving between meals, too bad. The schedule is absolute. Guards watch through a small window in the cell door while prisoners eat. They make sure nothing happens. No fighting, no saving food, no hiding anything. The guards stand there, silent, watching 2 men eat thin soup from metal bowls with basic metal spoons. Oh, did I mention the spoons? Even the spoons are controlled. You see, in a place like Black Dolphin, everything can become a weapon. A sharp edge, a pointed tip, anything hard enough to hurt someone. So the prisoners don't get to keep their spoons. After each meal, the spoons must be returned, counted, accounted for. If a spoon goes missing, the entire cell is searched. Punishment follows. These men, who once lived normal lives, who once chose what to eat and when to eat it, now depend entirely on guards to give them a metal spoon 4 times a day just to consume their watery soup. The psychological effect of this is impossible to overstate. Food is one of life's basic pleasures. The taste of something delicious, the satisfaction of a full stomach, the joy of sharing a meal with others, the comfort of a favorite dish. All of that is gone at Black Dolphin. Erased. Replaced with a purely functional system designed to keep bodies alive, but spirits crushed. But wait, there's something else about the food situation that makes it even more disturbing. Something that connects to a deeper philosophy running through every aspect of how Black Dolphin operates. If you've been paying attention, You might have noticed a pattern. The blindfolds when prisoners move, the bent-over posture, the tiny cells, the bowls pushed through slots, the soup with no flavor, the stolen spoons. Every single one of these things removes dignity. Every rule, every procedure, every moment of every day is designed to send the same message. You are not a person anymore. And the food system is the perfect example of this philosophy in action. What do you think happens to a person's mind when eat the same flavorless soup from a dog bowl 4 times a day for years and years with no end in sight? When every bite reminds them that they have no choices, no freedom, no future. Some former guards have spoken about working here. One said pushing that bowl through the slot day after day changed something inside him. Even those giving out the food feel the weight. Despite harsh conditions, prisoners follow the rules. Violence is rare. Rebellion almost never happens. How? When you wake knowing nothing will change, that you'll eat the same soup until you die, something breaks inside. Hope dies first, then resistance. The food plays a crucial role. Total control over a basic human need. You can't choose what to eat, when to eat. You don't even own a spoon. Every meal reminds you your life belongs to someone else. International human rights organizations have raised questions. Russia's response: these are the most dangerous criminals. They showed no mercy. Why should they receive it? It's difficult to counter, but there's something unsettling about reducing humans to depending on others for every calorie. Nutritionists estimate 1,500 to 2,000 calories daily. Technically enough for survival, but it's the bare minimum. The buckwheat kasha that sometimes appears is traditional Russian food. Outside, people cook it with butter and salt. Inside, it's gray grains and gray water. Can you imagine eating the same soup for breakfast tomorrow, and lunch, and dinner? For years, the prisoners don't get another option. There's a term, learned helplessness. When someone stops trying because nothing they do matters. The food system teaches it 4 times daily. If you're finding this fascinating, subscribe and drop a comment. The Russian prison system has levels. Regular prisons, high security, and then Black Dolphin, the highest security classification. The goal isn't rehabilitation. No one leaves. The goal: keep them alive, contained, unable to hurt anyone again. The soup accomplishes this. Alive, but weak. Fed, but never satisfied. Functioning, but deteriorating. Is this justice or revenge? That question hangs over Black Dolphin. These men committed terrible crimes, but they're still human. The soup, the bowls, the delivery force uncomfortable questions about punishment and dignity. Prisoners rarely speak about food. When journalists visit, prisoners mention isolation, monotony, the knowledge they'll die here. The food? It's become so normal, many don't mention it. That might be saddest. When something as important as food becomes meaningless. What happens to these men over years? How does endless soup affect their bodies and minds? After months and years of eating the same soup, the same bread, from the same metal bowls, something starts happening to the prisoners' bodies. Their teeth begin to decay. Without proper vitamins, their gums become weak and start bleeding. Their bones become brittle because the diet lacks calcium. Some prisoners develop scurvy, a disease sailors used to get centuries ago from not eating fruits or vegetables. Their skin turns pale and sickly, but the physical changes are just the beginning. Doctors who have studied long-term prisoners say that monotonous diets do something strange to the human brain. When you eat the same thing every day for years, your brain stops producing certain chemicals that make you feel pleasure from food. Eating becomes purely mechanical. Spoon to mouth, swallow, repeat. One prisoner, in a rare interview, described it like this: I don't taste anything anymore. The soup could be hot or cold. I wouldn't know the difference. I just eat because my body needs it. Like putting fuel in a car. Think about that. Food, one of life's basic pleasures, reduced to nothing more than fuel. But here's where the story takes an unexpected turn. Some prisoners have found ways to make their meals slightly more bearable. Not through breaking rules or smuggling contraband, but through something much simpler and more heartbreaking. They wait. When the soup arrives, instead of eating it immediately, some prisoners let it sit for a few minutes. They watch the thin layer of fat rise to the top. They look for the occasional piece of potato or cabbage. Then they carefully plan which spoonful to take first, which to save for last, turning a 5-minute meal into a 15-minute experience. It's all they have, the only control they can exercise, the only choice they can make. One former prisoner described spending an entire afternoon thinking about whether to eat his bread with his morning soup or save it for the evening meal. Hours of his life devoted to this single decision, because it was the only decision he could make. Another prisoner said he would close his eyes while eating and try to imagine he was somewhere else, at a restaurant, at his grandmother's table, anywhere but that concrete cell. But the imagination only worked for a few seconds before reality came crashing back. This is what extreme control does to the human mind. It forces people to find meaning in the smallest things. A piece of bread becomes important. The temperature of soup becomes significant. The order in which you eat becomes a daily ritual. Psychologists call this environmental poverty. When your surroundings offer nothing stimulating, nothing interesting, nothing varied, your brain starts to shut down. You become less creative, less intelligent, less human. The soup system at Black Dolphin creates this poverty intentionally. Now, let's talk about something the prison officials don't often discuss. What happens when prisoners get sick? In a normal prison, sick inmates might receive special diets, softer foods if they have dental problems, extra nutrients if they're recovering from illness, different meals if they have allergies or medical conditions. At Black Dolphin, the soup continues 4 times a day, no matter what. If a prisoner can't chew because of tooth pain, the soup is still the same. If he has stomach problems, the soup doesn't change. If he's running a fever and needs extra calories to fight infection, he gets the same 1,500 to 2,000 calories as everyone else. The prison has a small medical facility. Doctors visit regularly, but the food system remains constant. It's designed that way. Changing it for individual needs would require admitting that prisoners are individuals with different requirements, and that goes against everything Black Dolphin stands for. Remember, this isn't a place of rehabilitation. It's a place of containment. Here's something that might shock you. Despite all of this, despite the terrible food and harsh conditions, most prisoners at Black Dolphin live for many years. Some have been there for 2 decades or more. How is that possible? How can a person survive on such a limited diet for so long? The human body is remarkably adaptable. It can survive on very little if it has to. Your metabolism slows down. Your body learns to extract every possible nutrient from whatever food it receives. You become weaker, but you stay alive. Some prisoners lose significant weight in their first years. Their muscles waste away from lack of protein and exercise. Their hair thins. Their eyes lose their brightness. They start to look older than their actual age, sometimes by 10 or 15 years. But the body finds a way to continue. That's what it's designed to do. It's survival, but barely. And that's exactly the point. Black Dolphin keeps prisoners alive long enough to serve their life sentences, but offers nothing beyond survival. There's a comparison worth making here. In some countries, even maximum security prisoners receive varied meals. Different options for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Fresh fruits occasionally. Meat a few times a week. The goal is still punishment, but there's recognition that proper nutrition is a basic human right. Russia sees things differently, at least when it comes to Black Dolphin. The philosophy seems to be, you gave up your human rights when you committed your crimes. Now, you get exactly what you need to stay alive, and nothing more. It's harsh, unforgiving. Some would say cruel. Others would say it's exactly what these men deserve. But there's another layer to this story. Something about who decides what prisoners deserve, and whether anyone, no matter what they've done, should be treated this way. The guards at Black Dolphin rotate regularly. They don't stay for more than a few years. The prison administration knows that working in such a harsh environment affects people. The guards see the same men, in the same cells, eating the same soup, day after day after day. Some guards become hardened to it. They stop seeing the prisoners as human. It's easier that way. Just bowls to push through slots. Just a job to do. Other guards struggle. They go home at night thinking about the men in those cells. They wonder if they're part of something right or something wrong. One former guard said, "I used to think they deserved everything they got. And maybe they do. But after a while, you realize that when you treat someone like an animal, you become a little less human yourself." That's the hidden cost of places like Black Dolphin. It doesn't just affect the prisoners. It affects everyone involved. Now, here's a question that makes people uncomfortable. If the goal is punishment, does the food system at Black Dolphin actually work? Does it make society safer? Does it give justice to the victims of these criminals? There's no easy answer. The victims' families often say yes. They want these men to suffer. They want them to understand, even a tiny bit, what their victims went through. The bland soup, the loss of choice, the grinding monotony, all of it seems like appropriate punishment for people who took lives and destroyed families. But human rights advocates argue that once you start removing basic dignities, even from the worst criminals, you set a dangerous precedent. Where does it stop? Who decides what's acceptable and what crosses the line? The soup at Black Dolphin exists right on that line. It provides enough nutrition to satisfy international standards, technically. Prisoners aren't starving. They're receiving calories and basic nutrients. On paper, everything looks acceptable. But anyone who has studied the situation knows the truth. The food system isn't about nutrition. It's about breaking the human spirit. It's about making every single day a reminder that life as they knew it is over forever. And it works. Prisoners at Black Dolphin don't riot. They don't rebel. They don't cause trouble. They shuffle through their days, eating their soup, staring at their walls, waiting for death. Some people call this effective prison management. Others call it psychological torture. The truth probably lies somewhere in between. Here's what we know for certain. The men in Black Dolphin committed terrible crimes. They hurt innocent people. They deserve punishment. But the question remains, what kind of punishment serves justice without destroying our own humanity? The soup, the metal bowls, the dog-like delivery system, the complete absence of choice or pleasure or variety. All of it forces us to think about punishment, justice, and what it means to be human. There are prisons around the world just as secure as Black Dolphin. They hold equally dangerous criminals, but many of them provide better food, more variety, small comforts that acknowledge the prisoner's humanity while still keeping society safe. Black Dolphin chose a different path. And that choice reveals something about values, about philosophy, and about how different societies view crime and punishment. The prisoners themselves have become almost philosophical about their situation. In the rare interviews that have been conducted, some speak about the soup with a kind of detached acceptance. It's just reality now. Complaining would be pointless. Fighting against it would be meaningless. They've been completely institutionalized. The system has done exactly what it was designed to do. But every now and then, prisoner will mention something he used to eat. A favorite meal from childhood. A dish his mother made. The taste of fresh fruit. A meal he shared with friends before his life went wrong. These memories are all they have left. The soup can't take those away. Some prisoners say these food memories become more vivid over time, more detailed. Almost like they can taste them again just by thinking hard enough. But it's torture of a different kind. Remembering pleasure you'll never experience again. And maybe that's the saddest part of all. Grown men, locked in concrete cells, surviving on bland soup and hard bread, holding on to memories of meals from decades ago because those memories are the only flavor left in their lives. So what can we learn from Black Dolphin's food system? Maybe it teaches us that punishment can be effective without being cruel. Or maybe it shows us that some criminals deserve exactly what they get. Or perhaps it reveals something darker about what happens when we let revenge disguise itself as justice. The soup will keep coming, 4 times a day, every day, for as long as Black Dolphin exists. The prisoners will keep eating it because they have no choice. The guards will keep delivering it, because that's their job. And the world will keep debating whether this is appropriate punishment or something more troubling. One thing is certain. The harsh meals inside Black Dolphin Prison reveal truths about crime, punishment, humanity, and justice that make everyone uncomfortable, no matter which side of the debate they're on. And sometimes, discomfort is exactly what we need to think seriously about difficult questions. The men in Black Dolphin will eat their soup today, and tomorrow, and every day after that until they die. Whether that's justice or cruelty, fair punishment or excessive suffering, depends on who you ask. But now, you know the truth about what happens at mealtime in Russia's harshest prison. You understand the system, the psychology, the philosophy behind it all. The question is, what do you think? If this documentary opened your eyes to something you didn't know before, make sure you're subscribed to this channel for more deep investigations into the world's most mysterious and controversial places. Hit that like button if you found this information valuable. And most importantly, drop a comment below telling us your honest opinion. Do the prisoners at Black Dolphin deserve this treatment? Is the food system fair punishment, or does it cross the line? We want to hear your perspective, because this is the kind of topic that needs serious discussion. Thanks for watching, and remember, the world has many dark corners that most people never see. We'll keep bringing them to light.